Hey there, and welcome to this explainer of Zhu philosophy. Today we are breaking down a truly fascinating text that pitches a pretty wild idea. What if your level of thought literally dictates your level of life? Seriously, what if the way you process the world around you is the exact ceiling on your existence? Let's get right into it. I want to kick things off right out of the gate with a radical question, just to kind of challenge your everyday perception. Can you understand the universe without relying on anything you can see, hear, or touch? I mean, really think about that for a second. We navigate our entire lives through our senses, right? So if we strip away those basic human senses, what is actually left to understand?
Well, to find out, we first need to look at Section 1, the ladder of thought.
So, according to the author, Sufin, there are 8 distinct levels of thinking, and they progress in depth and complexity. We move briskly from the everyday, material thinking of ordinary people down at the bottom, up through artists using image thinking, scientists with associative thinking, and going all the way up to the holographic thinking of gods. But our focus for today? It zeroes in right on that 7th tier, formless thinking. The text claims this is the domain of bodhisattvas and Buddhas. But what does that actually entail? To get there, we need to understand Section 2, the trap of form. Okay, so when we hear the word form, we usually think of, a physical shape. But in this text, the definition is incredibly broad. A form isn't just a physical object you can hold in your hand. It encompasses absolutely anything you can sense. Plus, it includes any law or principle that humans have ever discovered, which are known as the characteristics of Dharma. And get this, even abstract concepts like emptiness or nothingness are considered forms. Basically, if your mind can conceptualize it, it's a form. Now, wrapping your head around this requires a massive, massive paradigm shift. We literally have to move away from the rigid, easily defined physical world. Formless thinking demands that we transcend our senses to see the pure essence of things, getting closer to the very origin of the universe. It's really about seeing the essence through the appearance and moving completely beyond the material world. You might be wondering, why do we even need to make this shift? Well, the text points out a crucial problem: the illusion of permanence. Space and time are constantly shifting, and everything else changes right along with them. A universal law in one context might fail completely in another. An absolute truth today, it might be a total falsehood tomorrow. Clinging to these rigid forms, trying to freeze a constantly changing world in place, is exactly what causes us endless suffering and confusion. The text actually uses these incredibly grounded, everyday metaphors to prove that all things are impermanent. Like those devoted lovers making passionate promises yesterday, they can become sworn enemies tomorrow. Or the fragrant, fresh meal sitting on your table today. Yeah, that's going to sour and spoil if you leave it out until tomorrow. If you cling to the form of that fresh meal, you are going to have a terrible time when you try to eat it a week later. Which brings us to Section 3. Defining formless thinking. The author drops this incredibly powerful statement here. In all changes, the fundamental remains constant. But the text quickly pivots and argues that this universal fundamental cannot be found by observing the myriad of shifting forms in our lives. You're not going to find the fundamental by staring at spoiled food or broken relationships, right? You have to look elsewhere. And this builds into an actual rigorous methodology. I want to slow down here for a second, because this is really the core mechanism of the whole explainer. Step 1, you must deliberately clear all forms from your consciousness. It's only by stripping away these senses and concepts that you can directly recognize the true nature of the universe, which is referred to here as the Tathagata, or the thus come one. Achieving this recognition is what finally allows you to escape the endless sea of human suffering and reach ultimate bliss. Let's look at how this ties into ancient knowledge in Section 4, the Buddha's wisdom. Think about the sheer weight of this quote. All forms are illusory. If one sees that all forms are non-forms, they see the Tathagata. It perfectly echoes what we just learned. Realizing the temporary, illusory nature of absolutely everything we perceive is the very first step toward enlightenment. When you stop seeing a cup as a permanent cup and instead see it as a temporary collection of conditions, you're beginning to see the Tathagata. This next quote from the Buddha takes it even a step further. It reveals that attaching ourselves to even abstract laws, those characteristics of Dharma, keeps us trapped. Think about it. If you cling to defined rules, you inherently cling to human constraints. You're stuck with your ego, your separation from others, and the ultimate limitation of your own lifespan. Here, the text highlights a pretty stark warning. The Buddha explicitly states that relying on our physical senses, looking for enlightenment through sight or seeking it through sound, is a deviant path. It's a total dead end. Ironically, your physical senses are practically designed to distract you from the ultimate truth. And boom, this brings us to the ultimate resolution to the problem of human suffering we were talking about earlier. Buddhahood isn't framed here as some magical destination or a place up in the clouds. It is simply a state of being completely, entirely free from the trap of forms. So, where does that leave us? Let's wrap up with Section 5, Beyond Time and Space. This is where the source text pulls a really fascinating move. The author ends part 1 of this text by deliberately leaving us with these lingering, highly practical mysteries. How do we actively practice this? What exactly are we going to perceive when we finally strip everything away? And practically speaking, how do we actually reach this wondrous state? It's a brilliant cliffhanger that transitions from pure theory right into practice. As you go about your day-to-day, you are inevitably going to bump into your own invisible walls of perception, whether that's getting frustrated by unexpected changes or clinging to things that are inevitably shifting. So I'll leave you with a final provocative thought. How can you practice formless thinking right now? Keep questioning your forms, keep seeking the fundamental, and we will explore the answers together in our next explainer.